Hello everyone. Welcome to the virtual class of Liquidator's accounts. In previous session, I have discussed conceptual framework of Liquidator's accounts, role of the liquidator, sequence or order of payment or disbursement by liquidator of the company to the different stakeholders, and one most important part of the disbursement is all about understanding of preferential creditors according to the provisions of Companies Act 2013. After discussion of order of the payment and preferential creditors, now it is time to understand the format, the pro forma of liquidator's final statement of receipts and payments. We have to prepare our receipts and payments in horizontal form. Here, it is not necessary to follow the vertical format. So, on debit side, receipts, amount, and credit side, payment and amount. On receipt side, first of all, we need to consider the balance available with the company, that is cash and bank balance. Second, if the liquidator has received any surplus from secured creditors, it is also treated as receipt for liquidator. Say for example, secured creditors have charge on land and building. Just wait for a minute. The market value of these land and building is rupees 1 lakh, and loan on such land and building is rupees 80,000. So what will happen? The bank will sell this land and building for rupees 1 lakh. They used to recover 80,000 rupees related to the loan on this land and building, and at a later stage 20,000 rupees will be refunded or returned to the liquidator of the company. So this particular item is defined as surplus received from secured creditors. Third, assets realized by the liquidator. It is not necessary to mention both of these items separately. You can consider surplus received from the secured creditors under assets realized by the liquidator. As a part of liquidation process, liquidator has to sell all the assets, and whatever the amount available with the liquidator by selling or by realization or by transferring these assets will be available with the liquidator for the purpose of payment to the different stakeholders. And fourth and last one, that is calls on partly paid shares. As we all know that it is not compulsory that the company has to issue only fully paid equity or preference shares. It may be possible that company has issued partly paid shares. What is meaning of partly paid shares? For example, face value of the share is rupees 10, but the company has called 7 rupees from the shareholders. In this situation, the face value of the share is rupees 10 and called up and paid up amount is rupees 7 per share. So, liquidator can call 3 rupees per share from the shareholders in order to complete the process of liquidation. So, on receipts side of the liquidator's final statement of receipts and payments, we can include maximum 4 items. One, that is balance of cash and bank. Second, surplus received from secured creditors if the asset has been sold by the creditors. Third, assets realized by the liquidator. Means whatever the assets realized by the liquidator, the amount is available with the liquidator for the purpose of payment to the different stakeholder. And fourth, any call is outstanding on partly paid shares. So a liquidator is entitled to receive these 4 items in receipt side during the process of liquidation, and this is the total amount received by the liquidator. Now, payment side, one of the important part of liquidator's final statement of receipts and payment. On receipt side, there will be no technical calculations, but for payment side is concerned, we will have technical calculations, because as per the guidelines of Companies Act 2013, it is compulsory for us to follow the order of payment. So the first order of payment is secured creditors and dues of workers. We have to pay them at first priority before paying anything to anybody. Second, liquidators' expenses and remuneration. Whatever the expenses incurred by the liquidator during the process of liquidation, we have to pay this expenditure at priority before paying anything to the preferential creditors and so on. Liquidator is also entitled to get remuneration for his or her services to the company as a liquidator, and that is why this is also payable at second stage. Calculation of liquidator's remuneration is always playing an important role in this chapter. At a third stage, we will be paying amount to preferential creditors. As I discussed in a previous lecture, they do not have charge on any of the asset. They do not have any right to receive anything from the company. But as per the provisions of Companies Act 2013, a few creditors are referred to as preferential creditors, and we have to pay them in priority before paying any sum to unsecured creditors or creditors having floating charges or shareholders. So as per the rules and regulations, they are covered under the definition of preferential creditors. This is one of the most important part of the payment side. As per the discussion in previous lecture, it is a compulsory for all of us to remember preferential creditors and conditions for preferential creditors. We have to calculate amount payable to preferential creditors in each and every question. At a fourth stage, we have to pay amount to creditors having floating charges like debenture holders. Debenture holders are required to pay not only for principal amount but also for outstanding interest, if any. So if outstanding interest on a debenture is given to us in our question, we need to pay them along with the outstanding amount of interest. At fifth stage, we will disburse unsecured creditors. Those creditors who do not have any kind of securities as mortgage. They are not considering under the definition of preferential creditors. Even they do not have any floating charges on the assets of the company. And that is why they are defined as unsecured. It means these kind of creditors are not secured with any of the asset of the company. After paying all categories of creditors from secured creditors to unsecured creditors, at a sixth place we have to pay amount to preference shareholders. After paying all categories of the creditors, now we have to pay amount to shareholders of the company. As per the provisions of the Companies Act, preference shareholders are always in a priority to get their amount returned before paying any sum to equity shareholders. So, after making payment to unsecured creditors, it is time to pay amount or their dues to preference shareholders. And at last, seventh stage, or you can say last phase of payment, we have to disburse the amount to equity shareholders, that is real owners of the company. And at the end of calculation, total of the receipt side and total of the payment side remains same or say equal. So this is a simple table of liquidator's final statement of receipts and payments. On receipt side, we may have 3 or 4 items as per the informations given to us in the question. But on a payment side, we have to accommodate all 7 items one by one. So it is necessary for all of you to remember the sequence of the payment. Secured creditors and dues of workers at first priority, liquidators expenses and remuneration at a second stage, preferential creditors at a third stage, and for this it is necessary to remember the rules for preferential creditors. Fourth stage is all about creditors having floating charges or say debenture holders. Then unsecured creditors, preference shareholders, and at last we need to pay amount to real owners of the company, equity shareholders. After discussion of pro forma regarding liquidator's final statement of receipts and payments, let us move to the first practical question of liquidator's account. In this question, I would like to explain the sequence and necessary calculations regarding order of payment to the different stakeholders. But before that, let us refer the question. Prakruti Limited went into voluntary liquidation on 31st March 2020 when the following balance sheet was prepared: liability side and assets side. I would like to clear one thing with you, that over here the balance sheet is given to us in a horizontal form. It may be given by the examiner in a vertical form, but it doesn't make any difference to us. We have concern with the details of liabilities and assets. On a liabilities side, share capital 4,000 equity shares of rupees 100 each, fully paid 4 lakhs rupees. 10% 2,000 preference shares of rupees 100 each, fully paid 2 lakhs. 15% debentures mortgage 4 lakhs. General reserve 80,000. Outstanding debenture interest 60,000. As I said, we need to pay amount of outstanding debenture interest at the time of payment to the debenture holders, and here it is given to us in our balance sheet. Bank loan secured by investment 1,60,000. Creditors 4 lakhs. Provident fund 1 lakh. Outstanding salary of clerks. In the bracket, it is clearly mentioned that this is all about salary of 3 clerks for the period of 3 months, and the amount is 36,000. And last, salary of workmen 36,000. Asset side, building rupees 4 lakhs, furniture 8,000 only, machinery 4 lakhs 80,000, investment 2 lakhs, stock 6 lakhs 45,800, debtors 48,000, and cash balance 18,200. Total of the balance sheet on both the side 18 lakhs. The bank has sold the investment at a book value, and surplus amount of rupees 40,000 was returned to the liquidator. Concentrate on the informations given over here. The bank has sold the investment. First of all, you need to check liability side of the balance sheet. On liability side, it is clearly mentioned that bank loan secured by investment is rupees 1,60,000. And here it is clearly mentioned that the investments has been sold by the bank at book value. So the book value of the investment is 2 lakhs. It means the bank has sold investment for rupees 2 lakhs. Then they have recovered 1,60,000 rupees for their dues for bank loan, and remaining 40,000 rupees returned to the liquidator of the company. That is surplus received by the liquidator from the secured creditors. Other assets realized as follows: building 6 lakhs, furniture 4,000, machinery 6 lakhs, stock 5,20,000 and debtors 40,000. Liquidation expenses are rupees 30,000. Liquidator is entitled to get remuneration at 5% on amount realized by him. In the first line, information regarding liquidation expenses are given and the liquidation expenses is rupees 30,000. In a second line, it is given that liquidator is entitled to get a remuneration at 5% on amount realized by him. It means whatever the amount realized by the liquidator is entitled to get 5% on the same as his remuneration. So using this information, we have to calculate liquidator's remuneration. Then debenture holders were paid on 30th September 2020. It is one of the most important information given by the examiner to us because as per the provisions of the Companies Act, we have to follow the rules and regulations while making payment to debenture holders. Preference shares are cumulative and preference dividend is in arrears for the last 2 years. On cumulative preference shares, the amount of dividend is accumulated for the backlog or for the earlier years for which the dividend were not paid. So here on preference share capital, dividend is outstanding for the period of 2 years. And at the end of the question, it is clearly mentioned that we have to prepare a liquidator's final statement of receipts and payments. Now, let us move to the solution of the problem. On your screen, you can find liquidator's final statement of receipts and payments. For all required calculations, we have prepared different working notes. Let us start our solution from receipt side. The first item is cash and bank balance. You can check asset side of the balance sheet. Information regarding cash and bank balance is given as rupees 18,200 that we have inserted over here. Second, two assets realized. Total amount realized by the liquidator using different assets is rupees 18 lakhs 4,000. In order to understand the amount of the assets realized by the liquidator, let us visit working note number 1. Calculation of assets realized. First, surplus of investments received from fully secured creditors. Just recall your question. In the first paragraph of your question, it is given that the bank has sold all the investment and rupees 40,000 returned to the liquidator of the company. So the first and foremost amount received by the liquidator from the bank after recovery of their loan for rupees 1,60,000 out of 2 lakhs. So out of 2 lakhs, 1,60,000 recovered by the bank and remaining 40,000 rupees refund or repaid or deposited with the liquidator of the company. Then in the additional information, it is clearly mentioned that the liquidator has realized 6 lakhs rupees by selling the building, 4,000 rupees by selling furniture, rupees 6 lakhs realized from the machinery, rupees 5 lakhs 20,000 by selling the stock, and rupees 40,000 from the debtors or say trade receivables of the company. In this way, total amount realized by the liquidator from all the assets is rupees 18 lakhs 2,000, and these rupees 18 lakhs 2,000 is required to transfer on receipt side to assets realized 18 lakhs 4,000. Let me correct it. So I have corrected the figure. It is 18 lakhs 4,000. These 18 lakhs 4,000 is debited to the liquidator's final statement of receipts and payments. In this way, we have included all the receipts on receipt side. Now, outstanding salary of workers. At first phase of payment, we need to incorporate two items. One, that is secured creditors. But in this question, secured creditors have realized their own amount. So we need not to worry for them because they have sold the investment, they have recovered their amount and rupees 40,000 returned to the liquidator. So payment to secured creditors disbursed automatically. Now, in a first phase, we need to pay outstanding salary of the workers. Check liability side of the question. Is there any amount related to salary of workers? Answer is yes. On liability side, we have outstanding salary of workers for rupees 36,000. So we need to pay them 36,000 at first priority. Then second phase of payment, liquidator's expenses and liquidator's remuneration. As per the information supplied by the examiner in the given question, liquidator's expenses amounted to rupees 30,000. So we have inserted figure of rupees 30,000 over here. Liquidator's expenses rupees 30,000. Liquidator's remuneration. Working note number 2. Let us calculate liquidator's remuneration. As per the information supplied by the examiner, the liquidator is entitled to get 5% remuneration on assets realized by him. So total assets realized by him 18 lakhs 4,000. You can check working note number 1. In working note number 1, we have completed calculation of the assets realized by the liquidator. It is rupees 18 lakhs 4,000. On these 18 lakhs 4,000, he is entitled to get 5% remuneration. So 18 lakhs 4,000 multiplied by 5% is equal to amount of liquidator's remuneration, and it is rupees 90,200. We have inserted 90,200 in the statement on payment side as liquidator's remuneration, working note number 2. Now, third phase of payment, preferential creditors. For the payment to preferential holders, we need to prepare a working note number 3, and it is one of the most important calculation. Working note number 3, amount paid to preferential creditors. Refer liability side of the balance sheet. On a liability side of the balance sheet, you will get two different items that can be covered under preferential creditors. First, it is provident fund. As per the provisions of the Companies Act, amount of provident fund is treated as preferential creditors. I have already informed you to revise the first session so as you can be clear for the items to be included in preferential creditors. So amount of provident fund rupees 1 lakh is part of preferential creditors. Second, salary of employees or salary of clerks over here. For the calculation of salary of clerks, we have three different options. First option, actual salary. As per the liability side of the balance sheet, it is rupees 36,000. Second option, 4 months salary. In our question, this 36,000 is given for the period of 3 months. So if we used to calculate salary for the period of 4 months, 36,000 divided by 3 months multiplied by 4 months. It is simply a cross multiplication. So this amount comes to rupees 48,000. And as per rule, maximum permissible limit is rupees 20,000 per person. In our case, this salary is outstanding for 3 clerks. So 20,000 rupees per person multiplied by 3 clerks is equal to 60,000. We need to select either 36,000 or 48,000 or 60,000. And as per the rule, we need to incorporate minimum amount out of these three. So at this point of calculation, you need to select minimum amount out of these three: 36,000, 48,000 and 60,000. So out of these three, minimum amount is 36,000. That is why I have inserted figure of 36,000 as preferential creditors for salary of clerks, and total amount of preferential creditors is rupees 1,36,000. 1 lakh rupees for provident fund and salary of clerks 36,000. Total 1,36,000. And this 1,36,000 is included in liquidator's final statement of receipts and payments. Working note number 3, preferential creditors 1,36,000. As per the order of disbursement, after making payment to preferential creditors, now it is time to pay debenture holders. Here I have paid rupees 4,90,000 to debenture holders, and this payment is following the rules and regulations laid down in the Companies Act. For your better understanding, I have prepared a working note number 4. Let us move to working note number 4 in order to understand payment to debenture holders. Payment to debenture holders. Before paying any amount to debenture holders, it is necessary for you to remember an important note available on your screen. You need to remember these rule up to the last question of this chapter. If the company is solvent, solvent means financially sound, financially stable. If the company is solvent, that is, if it is in a position to discharge its liabilities in full, the interest on debentures till the date of repayment is paid. If the company is insolvent, debenture interest is paid till the date of winding up. At this point of calculation, I would like to put to your notice this important item, because by default we need to follow this rule. Say for example, date of liquidation is 31st March and date of payment to the debenture holder is 30th September as per our question. Now we have to pay debenture interest to the debenture holders at the time of making their payment. If the company is insolvent, insolvent means the company is not able to pay its liabilities in full, then interest is payable till the date of liquidation. It means 31st March. But if the company is solvent, that is financially sound, the company is able to pay its liabilities in full, at that time interest on debenture is payable till the date of repayment, that is September 30. It is a compulsory to follow the guideline given in the Companies Act. Now let us understand the calculation. Principal amount of debentures rupees 4 lakhs. Outstanding interest as given in the balance sheet till the date of liquidation. On the liability side of the balance sheet, interest outstanding on debenture is given as rupees 60,000 and interest till the date of payment. Why? Because the company is sound. Company is able to pay its liabilities in full. As it's a very first question of the chapter, I have incorporated the situations in such a way so as I can explain all the important aspects of the payment. Here, company is sound and company is able to pay its liabilities in full. So, we need to pay interest till the date of payment. So, 1st April 2020. This is the first day of the year. And 30th September 2020. It is the date of the payment to debenture holders. So in this case, we need to pay additional interest to debenture holders till the date of payment. Face value of the debenture or principal amount 4 lakhs. The rate of interest on a debenture is clearly given over here, 15%, and we need to pay additional interest to the debenture holders for the period of 6 months. So 4 lakhs multiplied by 15% multiplied by 6 months is equal to 30,000. So 4 lakhs rupees paid as a principal, 60,000 rupees paid as outstanding interest given in the balance sheet, and the company is financially stable, so we have paid additional interest to the date of payment, till the date of payment, that is September 30, 2020. So in this way, total payment made to debenture holders by the company is rupees 4,90,000. Now transfer these 4,90,000 to payment side of liquidator's final statement of receipts and payments. Debenture holders, working note number 4, total 4,90,000. Then unsecured creditors, check liability side of the balance sheet. Information is clearly given for creditors on liability side. Creditors rupees 4 lakhs. As no information is given regarding any of the mortgage or charges on the asset, these 4 lakhs rupees treated as unsecured creditors, and for this no additional calculations required. After making payment to unsecured creditors of the company, let us move to the preference shareholders. In order to understand the total amount payable or paid to the preference shareholders, I have prepared a separate working note number 5, 2,40,000. Let us understand the calculation to preference shareholders. Principal amount of preference shares 2 lakhs. As per the information given in the balance sheet, preference share capital is rupees 2 lakhs. As per the information available to us in additional information, dividend on these preference shares are outstanding for the period of last 2 years, and these preference shares are cumulative preference shares. It means in addition to the principal amount of preference share capital, we need to pay them additional amount for outstanding dividend for last 2 years. I have completed calculation of preference dividend in the bracket. Preference share capital rupees 2 lakhs, rate of dividend 10%. It is mentioned in the balance sheet 10% preference share capital. So rate of dividend is 10% and the period for which the dividend is outstanding 2 years. 2 lakhs, 10% for 2 years. So amount of preference dividend outstanding is rupees 40,000. Total amount paid 2 lakhs rupees for principal amount and 40,000 rupees for dividend. Total 2 lakhs 40,000. After making payment to the preference shareholders rupees 2 lakhs 40,000, now it is time to pay amount to equity shareholders. I have completed calculation of equity shareholders over here, and amount paid to equity shareholders over here is rupees 4 lakhs. This is a balancing figure. How to calculate this balancing figure? Let me explain in just a quick view. Total of the receipt side 18,22,200, same as a total of the payment side 18,22,200. Out of these 18,22,200, we have paid 36,000 as outstanding salary of workers, 30,000 to liquidators expenses, 90,200 as liquidators remuneration, 1,36,000 for preferential creditors, 4,90,000 for debenture holders, 4 lakhs rupees as unsecured creditors, 2,40,000 to preferential holders. So out of 18,22,200, we have paid total amount of rupees 14,22,200. Out of 18 lakhs 22,200, 14 lakhs 22,200 rupees paid to the different stakeholder from outstanding salary of workers to the preference shareholders. So amount of difference over here is rupees 4 lakhs, and these 4 lakhs rupees payable to the equity shareholders of the company as they are at the last stage of payment. So whatever the remaining amount available to us, we have paid to equity shareholders in order to disburse their dues. Revise the question very properly and complete your notes. Watch next virtual sessions very properly in order to understand the entire chapter. Thank you. God bless you.